The Chimera archetype originally started out as just 3 cards used by Yugioh in the original series.
そしてバフォメットの効果でガゼルをフィールド上に呼び出す。さらにセカードオープン。融合のカードで2体のモンスターを1つにさせ、融合モンスター有力幻獣キマイラ召喚。
The cards were Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, a monster that moves so fast that it looks like an illusion to mortal eyes. Illusion, keep that word in mind, it'll be important later. The second card was Baphomet, an effect monster who, when it was normal or flip summoned, could add 1 Gazelle, the king of mythical beasts, from the deck to the hand. Finally, together, by introducing the spell card Polymerization, we could merge these 2 monsters together to create their fused form, Chimera, the flying mythical beasts. This monster's role in Yugi's deck was basically an easy-to-get-out, strong-ish monster. Basically, when the opponent brought out something kinda strong, Yugi could bring this out to get over it, or sometimes Yugi would just get this out first thing in the duel, because all he had to do was Polymerization. He'd always magically have both of the fusion materials in his hand, most of the time, and of course it could float into another monster with its other ability, which was, when this card is destroyed, you can target 1 Baphomet or Gazelle in your graveyard, special summon that target. The idea behind the merging of different beasts together into a hybrid creature is a concept that is derived from Greek mythology. In the case of Chimera, it is based on the Chimera. A chimera is usually depicted with a lion's head and body, with a second goat head on its back, with dragon wings, and a tail made of a snake. If we use this checklist against the chimera from Yugioh, well, how many match? Mythical beast chimera does in fact share the body and head of a lion, a second head, which is also a lion, but it does have ram's horns. It also has draconic wings, even though it dips a bit more into bird-like wings, and it also has the tail of a snake. In fact, there's a lot more hybrid creatures we can find in Greek mythology, so if they ever wanted to add any extra support for the archetype, well, I guess they could use any of these. Now, for 19 years, these 3 cards would be all we had. That is, until 2023, with the release of the booster pack, Duelist Nexus. Inside, we would get new upgraded forms to the original Chimera cards, along with new fused forms, and, most surprisingly, a brand new type of monster. This type of monster added to the game would be the Illusion type. The Illusion type isn't actually a new concept. It is based on illusion magic alignment monsters that were mentioned in early chapters of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga and in the video game Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories. So, for example, if you were thinking, what do these 2 monsters have to do with this archetype? Well, the reason is because they fell under the illusion magic alignment of monsters. There are 14 more illusion monsters that could be added to the game. Aqua Mage Wizard, Bamboo Bulb, Bell Bill Ostrich, Blue Skin Saurus, Dagger Maid, Kaija Leviathan, Melted Sea Bat, Moss Armor Pulpitch, Naga Viper, One-Eyed Insect, Slave Yellowtip, Talons of Shirlane, Violet Man Face, and Wounded Lizard. And what's even more fun, remember how I said at the start of the video, Gazelle mentioned it was like an illusion? Based on that, since the first wave of illusion monsters were Chimera Gazelle support and everything, that means Gazelle the King of Mythical Beasts is the progenitor to the illusion monsters. And what's ironic is its new form isn't an illusion monster. That's kind of funny, I don't know. It's also worth noting that out of the 20 illusion monsters currently in the game, as at the time of this video, every single one has an Eye of Widjat somewhere on its artwork. Or at least they all do, apart from that one card in the Memento archetype. This one just doesn't have it for some reason. Or if it's on there, I can't see it. So, bad Memento boss monster. It's also worth noting, Chimera and Gazelle state on their cards that they are always treated as a Phantom Beast monster. This is because in the original Japanese, their names are Phantom Beast King Gazelle and Chimera the Winged Phantom Beasts. Because of this, the Phantom Beast archetype can also be thought of as a part of this archetype too. So, all of these cards are more or less a part of the archetype. However, keep in mind the Mecha Phantom Beasts are a subsection of the Phantom Beast archetype, and that doesn't actually count as part of this one. They're mechanical planes that shoot off illusions. Completely different thing. Moving on. The playstyle or gimmick of this archetype, more specifically the illusion monsters themselves, all fits around the theming of illusions. A lot of the monsters have abilities where when they are attacked by opponents' monsters, well, nothing really happens. That's because these monsters are illusions themselves. So when the opponent attacks into them, it's basically an illusion, an after image. They didn't really attack anything. So that's kind of the lore behind their ability to survive battles. And of course, the bigger upgraded forms, they are also able to project illusions of themselves to the field. However, they can actually do a bit of follow-up as well. They can lurk in the shadows and actually do something. It's kind of cool. So I feel like we've learned enough. How about we take a look at each of the old school cards, what they got upgraded into with their new forms, what their new forms can be smushed together with to make newer forms, just what the new support cards do. Let's start first with Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts. This card got upgraded into Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Its effect is, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 level 5 Fiend monster or 1 Chimera fusion from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can add 1 illusion monster from your deck to your hand. By summoning this monster to the field, you can add Baphomet, or more likely, its upgraded form, Big Winged Baphomet. Its effect is, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 level 4 Beast monster or 1 Chimera fusion from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except fusion monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a material for a fusion summon, you can target 1 illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Now, with this monster's first effect, symbiotically, it can add Gazelle. Gazelle can add Baphomet. It's a beautiful little circle. I love it. And you might have noticed one more crucial card mentioned in both of these cards, and that is the in-archetype fusion card, Chimera Fusion. Its effect is, during the main phase, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a beast or fiend monster. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you have Chimera, the flying mythical beast, on your field or in your grave, you can activate one of these effects. Add this card to your hand, banish this card, and if you do, special summon both 1 Gazelle and 1 Baphomet from your deck and or graveyard. With this card, a bunch of new fused forms become available. However, before we learn about those, we actually have some new main deck monsters for the archetype. Mirror Swordsman. This card only appeared in the Yu-Gi-Oh video game Dark Duel Stories. However, it got an upgraded illusion form. This new form would be merged with the Chimera archetype, and it would be called Mirror Sword Knight. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. Quick effect, you contribute this card, special summon 1 monster from your deck that mentions Chimera Fusion, except Mirror Sword Knight. When a monster your opponent controls activates its effect while you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, negate that effect. Another card from Dark Duel Stories that got brought into the Chimera archetype was Cornfield Quater. This card got upgraded into Cornfield Kotal. Its effect is, if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. You can discard this card, add 1 monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand, except Cornfield Kotal. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control, while you control Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast, quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So with these 4 main deck monsters out the way, let's see what they all merge into. By combining Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws, and Big Wing Baphomet, you get Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, which of course is a direct upgrade to the original Chimera. This monster is made by fusing 1 Beast monster with 1 Fiend monster. This card's name becomes Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field or in the grave. If this card is fusion summoned, you can activate this effect. Send one random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard during the end phase of this turn. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one beast, fiend, or illusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Fun fact, both of the effects of this cards are references. The first effect of sending a card in the opponent's hand to the grave is a reference to the anime series. It happened during the duel between a rare hunter and Yugioh. In the duel, Yugioh used Light Force Sword to seal a card in the opponent's hand away. The card sealed was a piece of Exodia. This was done just in time to prevent them from drawing the last piece and instantly winning the game. So this hand rip effect is a reference to that. Also, the second effect to summon a beast, fiend, or illusion monster is simply a carryover from the original form's destruction effects. Next up, if we merge Baphomet and Mirror Sword Knight, we get Baphomet, the mythical king of phantom beasts. This card requires two monsters with different types, beast, fiend, or illusion, to be summoned. This card's name becomes Chimera, the flying mythical beast, while on the field or in the grave. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send one beast, fiend, or illusion monster from your deck to the grave. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one of your banished beast, fiend, or illusion monsters, except Baphomet, the mythical king of phantom beasts, special summon it. This monster's effect is actually a great way of getting Cornfield Coatl or Mirror Sword Knight into the grave to get their graveyard effects basically live and ready. Or you can just send a different illusion monster. We'll talk about some other ones that could go for a bit later. After this guy, we have the big fusion monster. Made by fusing all four materials together. They create Chimera, the illusion beast, which is actually made in-game by merging Chimera, the flying mythical beast, plus one or more illusion monsters. This card's name becomes Chimera, the flying mythical beast, while on the field or in the grave. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of materials used for it. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can change that opponent's monster's attack to 0, also negate its effects. Now, while all the cards I've just covered are the main core of the archetype, there's actually a couple honorable mentions we can go through. While it technically came out long before these cards, thematically it fits with the archetype and, well, it just works really well with them. And that card is Guardian Chimera. It's made by fusing 3 monsters with different names. However, it must be fusion summoned by using monsters from your hand and field, with at least one monster from each. If this card is fusion summoned by a spell card or effect, you can draw cards equal to the number of cards used as material from the hand. And if you do, destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards used as a material from the field. While polymerization is in your graveyard, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, there's 2 illusion monsters worth bringing up. The first is Nightmare Magician. It's an illusion monster that technically has nothing to do with the archetype, since its effect doesn't reference any of them, and it doesn't fuse with any of the main deck monsters. However, it is an illusion monster, meaning it works with some of the cards. It also released in the same pack as the Chimera cards. This monster is obviously an illusion counterpart to the Dark Magician. Yugioh played the Chimera cards, Yugioh owned the Dark Magician, so it makes sense that the Chimera cards would have a homage to Dark Magician in their deck, I guess. And the same also applies to another card that is the illusion form of the Dark Magician girl, Nightmare Apprentice. Basically, both of these cards are honorary members for this archetype. Then again, you could just say any illusion monster is more or less, so it's fine. Finally, it's worth mentioning there is an illegal match-winning prize card version of Chimera called Chimera, the Master of Beasts. It cannot be special summoned, must be tribute summoned by using 3 beast-type monsters. If it attacks the opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, then you win the best of 3 match instantly. Do you think that ability is OP? Well, guess what? I actually made a video all about this if you want to check it out. Match winners. Crazy, right? And if you're not interested in that, don't you worry, I've got another video right here. But regardless, hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked to learn a little bit more about the Chimera Phantom Beast archetype. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Catch you later.